Welcome back to another Careerology Energy Check-In. Now, today's card is the Emperor. I'm really excited about this one. It shows up specifically when we're thinking about structure, leadership, and getting really intentional about where your career is going. Okay, so it's a really interesting card from the Careerology card deck perspective because it shows up in different ways, I should say, depending on where you are professionally. For example, if you're a job seeker, you might feel like you're running around sending your resume all over the place. Maybe you're tweaking it consistently for every other job over and over, and you're just sort of like throwing spaghetti up on the wall by applying to anything and everything. Now, I see this happening a lot. You get caught up going through hours of job searching and still feeling like you're not really getting anywhere because you don't really have a strategy behind your job search. So the Emperor card is asking you to take a step back for a second. Okay. I want you to start thinking about what path you actually want to pursue, what position you're really interested in, what level of work do you want to work at, what kind of responsibilities do you really want to have, and most of all, what type of company or work environment are you interested in working for? Okay. You really need your job search not to just become a numbers game. All right, where you're just applying all over the place. You have to be more intentional about where you're putting your time and energy into it. So this card, the Emperor, is showing up really to tell you to get strategic. Okay, now's the time to start narrowing down what you're looking for, start setting up a little schedule, establishing your priorities, and coming up with a plan that will basically be a blueprint for your job search. Okay, and then follow it. All right, if you're a professional or manager, everything around you can seem to be so unorganized. Okay, maybe you've got too many different priorities that need your attention and expectations that need to be met. Maybe you're running around constantly feeling like you're putting out fires, okay? Seems like you're reacting to everything instead of being able to really focus on the job at hand. Okay, so when things get this chaotic, usually we just try to do more to, keep up. It's getting strategic and coming up with structures, setting boundaries, of course, and focusing on the tasks and projects that actually need your attention. Okay, so you have to start asking yourself what needs to be prioritized, what can wait, um, what needs to be expanded on, clarified, and where do you need to put stronger boundaries? Okay, especially if you're in a management position, this becomes so important because the structure that you create will not only affect you, but the people that reports to you as well. They will be affected by that. Okay. So making sure that you're keeping in communication with your team about the priorities and expectations that you have, this will have a huge impact on the direction that your team is going in, as opposed to having everybody going in different directions. Now, lastly, if you're building a business or running your own business, we already know how fast things get scattered when you're doing everything yourself. Okay. So delegate, delegate, delegate if you possibly can. Okay. You've got these ideas, you've got projects, websites, marketing, and not to mention emails. Okay. So all of a sudden, it may feel like you're working all day and you're sitting there thinking, like, what did I actually get done at the end of this day? So this is where the emperor is asking you to put some priorities and some systems in place. Very crucial. Okay. Because you can have a great idea for business, but if everything's living inside of your head and you're jumping from one spot to the other, it's really hard to turn your vision into something um, profitable. Okay. I want you to ask yourself, if you're in this situation, what are you actually trying to accomplish? What needs to happen first? What can wait? Okay. And what can I organize if I don't want to constantly be reinventing the wheel? Okay. You can come up with a system so that you don't have to keep doing that from scratch, thinking of how you want to handle it. Okay. So these do not need to be massive corporate structures. Okay. Just enough stuff in place to stop you from feeling like you're being pulled all over the place in multiple directions at the same time. All right. So basically, that is really the heart of the Emperor's card message when it comes to careerology. So you're not going to be able to transfer anything in your career overnight. Okay. So don't put that type of expectation on yourself. Just pick one area that seems a bit more chaotic or scattered right now and, bring some order to it. Okay. Come up with a simple plan and execute it. All right, because it's really easy to stay in the planning stages. Sorry, I'm fighting a cold, so my my voice is a little crazy. Yeah, I was saying it's easy to stay in the planning stages especially when you're trying to figure out what the next step is. But the Emperor is not just about strategy. It's actually more about action as well. Okay. You make a plan and you actually do something with it. The Emperor asks you to bring structure to what feels scattered, to set some boundaries, and to take your power back over what it is that you can control. All right. So here's something I want to ask you and let you sit with this for the day. Where is your intuition asking you to bring more structure, more leadership, and more intention into your career right now? Okay. Now, if something immediately pops into your mind, don't dismiss it. I want you to pay attention to it because that could be the one area that you're asking to get more strategic about. Okay? So I want you to remember that the energy that you put out really matters because the universe has a habit of sending that right back to you. So you want to make sure that you're keeping it positive. In the meantime, feel free to like, share, follow, subscribe, leave a comment below.